Welcome back to Lunch Break. I'm Tanya Rivero. E-cigarettes have gotten a bad rap lately, but there's new research showing they are highly effective. In one important regard, they really do help people quit smoking. Joining us from London is the author of a recent study on e-cigarettes, Robert West, professor of epidemiology and public health at University College London. Hi, Robert. You tested the effects of e-cigarettes on smokers over a 5-year period, correct? What did you find?
Actually, what we did was do a study of just under 6,000 smokers, and where we were collecting the data over that period. But we have to bear in mind that this is a survey. This is not a randomized controlled trial. We were looking at people who said that they had tried to stop at some point in the last year, and we were only interested for this study in people who hadn't used any professional support. And that's very important for a reason I'll go into later. But these are people who are doing it by themselves. And there were 3 groups. One group did nothing at all, used nothing, just no aid at all. One group used the nicotine patches, nicotine gum that we know and has been around for a long time. And the other group, of course, used e-cigarettes. And what we found was that those who had used the e-cigarettes were about 60% more likely still not to be smoking at the time when we contacted them. Now, obviously, there are all sorts of reasons why you might get differences between these groups. So what we did was we asked a lot of questions about these things. For example, how heavy a smoker they were, their nicotine dependence, how long ago they'd tried to stop, and so on. And we found that even when we took all those factors into account, we still saw that difference.
Did that surprise you? Did these results surprise you? They're pretty definitive.
Well, no study is ever definitive. I have to say, as a researcher, it's one study, and it's in England, and different countries may be different. But I wouldn't say it surprised me or that I was expecting it. To be quite honest, I really didn't know what I was going to find or what we were going to find. When we first did the research all those years ago, back in the 80s, on nicotine replacement therapy, all the gums and so on, I think you could have argued it either way even then. So I would say that I kept an open mind, and the results just turned out how they did.
And yet the fate of e-cigarettes remains very much up in the air. What do we know about the health effects of e-cigarettes? Obviously, they seem to help people quit smoking, but are there any other drawbacks?
Well, one thing to bear in mind with e-cigarettes is that most people who are going to use them are going to use them to stop smoking, and they're going to want to come off them fairly soon after that, in the same way that they would use a nicotine patch or gum. And so, whatever health effects there may be from long-term use of e-cigarettes wouldn't really apply in that case. But of course, there's going to be another group out there who like their nicotine and are perfectly happy to continue to use it and to remain, dependent on nicotine. And for those people, obviously, we need to think about what the long-term health effects would be. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be literally decades before we could know from the epidemiology, because the risks from smoking take a long time to come through, and as they would with e-cigarettes. So what we have to look at is what the concentrations are of irritants and toxins in the vapor from e-cigarettes. So they deliver propylene glycol, which is stage smoke. It's the sort of stuff you'd see at a rock concert or in a play if they've got smoke. They've got a certain amount of nicotine. The amount of nicotine they deliver is usually less than from a cigarette. Nicotine itself is not carcinogenic and probably carries very little by way of health risk.
Thank you so much, Robert West, for all of that. Professor at University College London. Thank you.